Okay, thank you again for being here for my podcast of Beyond the Exam Room. And today we're very fortunate to have Mr. Chris Smith, who's the Executive Director of the Comal County Senior Center here in New Braunfels, which is an incredible resource for the seniors in Comal County, which I can't wait to dive into it. But, you know, for me, Chris, it was an eye-awakening experience when COVID hit. And I don't know if that was for you too, but when I saw COVID and then I saw some of the patients that basically isolated themselves and then they came out, I couldn't even recognize them. I mean, literally, some of the patients, my jaw dropped because it was amazing to me how far and how fast they degraded. And so, can you talk about that, what you've seen when, after COVID and how important socialization is? For the seniors.
Absolutely. Isolation in the senior population is devastating. And so what you saw with patients, we see that with our homebound seniors. And even with the seniors that come into the center, many of them are widows or widowers. And so without the center, they would feel that isolation. And so if you just imagine, you're living alone, you're newly widowed or widower. A lot of times your family is not near. And so those effects are devastating. And what we try to do is we try to create community. We create community within the walls of the 710 Center, and then also with our home delivered meals and the volunteers. And the word that I get from my volunteers is that connection, it's more than just a meal. We say it all the time. It's more than just a meal. It's that connection. And unfortunately, a lot of times that volunteer is the only connection that they have. I read a study the other day that isolation has the similar effects as smoking 7 cigarettes a day, which is unimaginable. And that's what our senior population is dealing with right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So of all the programs, obviously we're going to dive into a lot of the programs that you have. Of all the programs that you have launched, which program, in your opinion, made the biggest difference?
I think that's a difficult question because there's so many good things that are going on, and I can go to like our 4 cornerstones. But the nutrition program, I think, touches a lot of those areas in one. So if you look at our nutrition program, I already talked about the home delivered meal. And so we have 130 clients that are homebound. And they're homebound for a variety of reasons. And it's not about economics. We have one client that is recently gone blind, and his wife is going through dementia, and they have an adult child that has some learning disabilities. So the bandwidth for them, there's a lot on their plate. And so the fact that we can deliver a meal to all 3 of them once a day, 5 days a week is a big thing. But then again, that volunteer comes and it makes a connection. And so we can do a wellness check to make sure that they're okay. We have literally saved lives. We've had clients that have experienced a fall, and that's one of the big things that we try to combat in our exercise program. Is we had a senior that fell, and it unfortunately was on a Friday going into the weekend. Fortunately, one of our volunteers knocked on the door. It didn't seem right, so we called law enforcement. They did a wellness check. She had fallen that Thursday evening, had been on the floor for over 24 hours, heading into the weekend, and no one was going to check on her. Yeah, she wouldn't have survived. And so, going back to the nutrition program, so we have that. We also have what we call a congregate or a fellowship meal. Okay. So anybody in Comal County 60 years or older can come into the 710 Center and get a free meal. Again, it's more than just a meal. It's making connection. Right. Many of those friendships are made, and they make those connections. And we also, again, a part of our nutrition program is we have an Animeals program, to where we've got some grant funding where we deliver pet food.
Oh, wow.
Because a lot of times the seniors that's their only companion.
Yeah.
And they'll take the food that we deliver that's meant for them to
Give it
feed
the
their
pet
dogs
dog, yeah.
or their cat. And so we've eliminated that need to do that. And so that's a really rewarding thing. And then one of the things that we just launched this year was a shelf stable program.
Okay.
So what we found is, you know, if you remember a few months ago, we had an ice storm.
Yeah.
Well, all of our meals are delivered by volunteers, and a lot of them are seniors themselves, and so I don't want them on the road.
Right.
And so luckily we planned ahead because we saw the forecast there, and we got the meals out the day before. But if there's ever a situation, a flood situation, or there's a situation where the food is not delivered, then we now have 3 shelf-stable meals in place. So if that were to ever happen, we would call the client and say, we're not going to get to you today, but go to your shelf-stable meal. And we're going to make 3 of those deliveries this year. That is all grant funded. That is not anything that's reimbursed by the government, so that's grant funded. So we're going to add an additional 10 meals to our homebound seniors this year. And we hope to continue that every year.
Wow, what an incredible program. So you mentioned the 4 pillars or the cornerstones of what you represent. Can you go over those 4 pillars again?
So the first one is the nutrition.
Right.
The second one is fellowship.
Fellowship.
Then we have fitness.
Fitness.
And education.
Education.
So those are the 4 pillars that
so
we
can you talk more about the education? I mean, you talked about like obviously fall prevention, some of the other things, but what other educational process?
So we partner with various groups. Pack Medical Group will come in and do educational things. It's as simple as sometimes as a blood pressure check. And some people don't have the means to do that. Right. And so we'll do blood pressure check. We also partner with ACOG, which is the Alamo Area Council of Governments. And we have a benefits counselor come in. And so they'll talk about Medicare and Medicaid and how to navigate those. Unfortunately, one of the struggles that goes back to the isolation is fraud. And, you know, I had an adult child of one of our clients said, the only people that call my mom are me and the fraudsters. And so they prey on these people. So we've had the police department and the Department of Homeland Security come in multiple times to just talk about the fraud situations. And with AI, you know, there's so many good things that go on, but it can replicate a human voice, and it can replicate a voice that you recognize and know, and they prey on them. They also, going back to the isolation, they promise relationships, friendships. And so we try to educate our people, our members, on those kind of things so that they can in their homes be safe.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that because you know you'll sit there and watch some of the TV programs and have these seniors wire whatever amount of money and like, how can you be that dumb? And you know, and you're sitting there and you don't understand that they're isolated. They're so lonely that for any any morsel of attention, it's just it means the world to them. And so it's really hard to judge people when you don't know what they're going through. It's a very, very difficult situation for them. I've seen that in my own practice. I always tell people one of the things that I was most proud of when we launched our house call program was that you don't know what a senior is going through unless you actually walk into their home. I mean, the first 30 seconds you walk in there and it'll give you a really good idea of what their emotional and mental status is. I mean, I can tell you some of the things I've seen. It's just like you'll shake your head. You don't believe it. But so that's why I'm a huge proponent. I want everyone to know the services that you offer because I don't want them to be alone. Right? There's always obviously church, which is really important. But then you can also reach out to you and your staff and actually come out and have a friendly meal, like you said. And I'm sure I've been there. You guys are very what's the word? Catering to make sure that they're not sitting alone, right? Because that's always the fear, right? You walk into somewhere that you don't know anybody, and you're like, okay, I don't want to eat by myself. And so I just want to make sure that people understand some of the wonderful resources that you guys offer on a daily basis.
Yeah, and also want to add that the volunteers, many of them are seniors themselves. And I've had more than one conversation of the volunteers benefiting so much from delivering the meal. many of the people and many of the community members in New Braunfels are so fortunate. They have the means, they have the physical ability, and so they want to be connected. But I was talking to a volunteer once, and she's 69 years old, and she says, the older I get, the more invisible I feel as a volunteer. She's not even a member,
right?
She's a volunteer, and
right.
She said this volunteer opportunity gave her purpose, gave her meaning. We've had some that have lived in this community, going back to your house calls, lived in this community their whole lives and didn't see some of these citizens that are their neighbors. And because they said yes to volunteering, they have now been connected, and it's opened up a whole new world for them to support. And so, if I tell people all the time, you may not need the center, or you may not, or the services or the meal, but you may need an opportunity yourself because you've retired, you've had a successful career, now you want to give back.
Yeah. We
give that opportunity as well. And so, it's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful organization.
Yeah, when you go there, you can feel the camaraderie. I just can't emphasize enough for everyone out there, at least visit the center. All the things that they offer. They have a beautiful pool. They have a physical fitness program, and they're honestly, working with the community to deliver different programs. One thing that was when I was at a lecture, I'll never forget this, and we talked about access to healthcare. And it's very similar to here. And the spokesperson put a picture first of some remote village in Africa. I mean, it's just a little teepee thing that you can't even see, and it's remote. There's nothing. And then very next slide, he showed this one person living in their own home, is debilitated, he's immobile for his healthcare, and he's basically bedridden. And he was in the middle of New York City. And so basically they're both in the exact same predicament, right? Even though, and so I think that was an eye-awakening experience for me, and I'm sure you see it all the time. You just mentioned it. I bet there are people who are isolated and they feel like they're not connected. It might just be your neighbor that maybe you never even saw, And so one of the things that you brought up, which is really important, is that it's about sense of community. That's what I love about New Braunfels, is that, like the Bible says, that love thy neighbor. And so it really, think about the people in your neighborhood that you probably never even saw. And if, it doesn't hurt you to just keep an eye on them. There are a lot of seniors that live in New Braunfels.
18,000 last census.
Wow.
So 18,000 people that are over 60 or older in our community.
And then the other misconception is that, New Braunfels is like an affluent community, and they don't understand that food insecurity definitely exists in New Braunfels. Can you talk about that too?
Yeah, it's I said there's not a requirement for home delivered meals, but in the meals that I've delivered, there many of them are on fixed income.
Yeah, and
so you have to budget well. You have to do that, and there are many of our members that come for that free meal. Many of them don't need it, but some absolutely. It helps supplement their budget that they're straining to make sure that they have enough for the end of the month. So yeah, that food insecurity is absolutely there. And again, sometimes it's easy to overlook it just because of the community that we have in our life. And one of the things that I've talked about, I was talking earlier about, I had my whole career in education, and it seems that people are willing and able to support young people and animals. It just seems animals and people. And believe, I love kids, and I think that's because I think we can all empathize. We've all been 15. Yeah. And you're 15 and you're an orphan or a ward of the state, or parents are incarcerated. Those kids absolutely need their support. Yeah. Well, neither one of us have been 85. Right. And quite frankly, we don't want to be 85. Right. We're all trying to resist that. We want to be younger and younger and younger. And so it's hard for us to empathize and put ourselves in those shoes. But like you said, with your visits, you're seeing that. And but if you take the time, their stories are amazing.
I couldn't agree more.
I mean, that's one of the best part of my jobs. I just sit down and it's like, tell me about this. There was a gentleman that told me about he just lost his wife in April. They've been married for 53 years. He met her 2 days before he was deployed to Vietnam. They wrote letters to each other for 3 years. They fell in love through their letters. He said he wrote his girlfriend more than his mom, and the mom got upset because the girlfriend had to go over and read the letters to the mom. Wow. So she would, and he was so funny. He's like, yeah, my girlfriend, she had to cut out some of the stuff because as we built our relationship, it got a little mushy, and this stuff my mom didn't want to hear. And then he returns from the war, and they get married 3 months later, and they were married 53 years.
What a great story!
And I was like, that's a movie.
It is.
I mean,
yeah.
That's what movies are made of.
Absolutely.
But you go back to the loneliness and isolation. Now he's trying. I mean, that's been his partner for 53 years.
Yeah.
And now she's gone.
Right.
And he was even vulnerable enough to talk about going on a lunch date with a friend.
Yeah.
And he was feeling all the emotions of a 16-year-old on his first date.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like it was just neat to see him being vulnerable to share his story. And so. There's this stigma about the senior center. Oh, I'm 85 and I'm not old enough to go to the senior center. No, that's not. I mean, they're all vibrant. And so it's a great place. And so we are a membership. So
right.
I talk a little bit about becoming a member. We have several different memberships that you can. If you go on our website, it's mbsenior.org. It'll show you all of them. We also have a newsletter, but the basic membership is $60 a year.
Okay.
And just $5 a month. And that gets you access to the center. And then you can pick one fitness class. So if you want to do Forever Fit, you can do that class. And if that class meets 3 days a week, you get 3 classes. And so that's just the basic membership. Mm-hmm. If you want access to, like you said, the fitness center and the pool and the sauna and the steam room and all that kind of stuff, it's more like a gym membership.
Yeah.
So it's $35 a month plus the $5, so it's or $30, I think. And so it's $35 a month. We have one that's an all access. It's $50 a month. You can do everything, any class you want to go. But we also take insurance programs.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We take that Silver and Fit, Silver Sneakers and all that.
Okay.
And if you have that through your insurance, it's free of charge.
That's awesome.
But the people that have that have to promise me because it's a reimbursement for us. And we're a nonprofit, so we have to fund things.
Right.
And the way it works out, the more times you go, the more reimbursement we get.
Oh, okay.
And so it's a thing where it'll max out at $40 a month.
Okay.
But if you only go 3 times, we only get 15 per se. So I need everybody to go to the full max amount of time so that we can maximize that reimbursement. But many of our seniors, we just recently have done that in the past 18 months. And many of our seniors take advantage of it. So it's really of no cost.
Yeah, it's funny because the stigma is, the senior center. You only go there to play bingo.
No.
And you go there and like it's not even close. It's a beautiful center with a beautiful pool. So can you go through some of the programs that you have over there? Besides, obviously, we have game night because we sponsor one of them. That was a lot of fun.
Right.
I really enjoyed that. But there's some spunky people over there. But the big thing is, it's not just about the programs. It's just, you make connections. You have camaraderie. You have fellowship.
Right.
And so, but, I know you have a nice gym there too.
Right.
And then what are some of the other programs that you guys have?
So we have a lot of different groups. Of course, you have like the Mahjong, you have Sequence, you have Dominoes, Bunko, all those. We have a poker group.
Poker group.
They have a poker group that goes. And there's one gentleman, I check with him every time he plays. I said, did you donate today? And he said, I absolutely donated. On my way here today, he said, they were donating to me. So he was having a good day today. Awesome. And so we have a wood carving group on Wednesdays. And that what they do with wood is, they carve it. It's absolutely amazing. We have a knitting group. And it's similar to when I was a school principal. I said, if you want a club, let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're open to everything. I'm actually been in conversation with another nonprofit that does acting for seniors, acting and storytelling. And so I'm going to an event that they're having in April, and I'm going to see if that's a partnership that we can have. And so they learn to tell their stories through acting.
That's awesome.
And so we're going to
do that.
Yeah, we're going to do
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
And then we have a feedback form that we start every staff meeting on Tuesday with, that they can give us ideas. And music keeps coming up.
Yes.
So I'm looking for anybody that would like to volunteer, that has any musical talent to teach them, maybe an
Guitar,
instrument
yeah,
or something like that. We would love to have a music group, a little choir group. We're thinking about maybe doing karaoke or something like that because they're very musical. They love that kind of stuff. So yeah, the possibilities are unlimited. Just if you have enough people that want to, and will facilitate it. We have plenty of space, and we have the willingness to put it on. So whatever they want to do, we're
What are the hours that it's open?
We're 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and we're open from 8 to 4.
Okay.
The reason 8 to 4 is that we used to be open 8 to 5, but we only had like 7 people check in after 4 for an entire year.
Oh,
so
okay.
so the need wasn't there. It just seems
Yeah.
like. But again, if it got to the point where, hey, we have people that want to, we're willing to extend.
Flexible, yeah.
It's just it doesn't need it, but it's 5 day, Monday through Friday till 4.
Okay. And you have to be 60 or older, or
50.
50 or older.
50 or
Wow.
older. Yeah, 50
Okay.
or older.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's great.
And that's one of the things we are trying to do in our model is that I understand 50-year-olds were working.
Yeah.
So that time is not
Yeah.
good for that. And also some of the equipment we want to get that. So we're working to see if we can get that age group in
Yeah.
and start doing some connections. So we're exploring that to hopefully increase our membership as well.
Yeah.
But a majority of our members are in their 60s and 70s. But again, as you said, very active.
They are.
It's not, you're not coming in there and people are just sitting still. And no, it's an active, alive, wonderful place that I hope that people can come out and experience.
I agree. And then don't forget, if you're young enough, go in there and be a volunteer. I promise you, if you volunteer there, you'll get more out of it than you put in. 100%. Okay. Thank you.